Well, first of all, I think we should be more specific about what the local authorities can contribute to development, and based on that, we'll be able to identify what are the constraints for them to play that role. So I would really start from saying local authorities can make an important contribution to development. Their contribution is specifically local development, territorial development, which should not be understood only as the localization of the plans of the central government. Let's understand first of all that local authorities all local authorities have a double role. They are on one end the representative of a local political constituency, and they are also the ones who can help the central government implement its policies in the locality. So if we understand that they have this double role, then we understand that they can deliver, they can promote local development by, on one end, leveraging the resources of the locality, all sorts of resources, material, institutional, political resources of the locality, and bring them to bear on the national development effort as an additionality, while at the same time they help improve the allocative and productive efficiency of the resources of the central state by assuming a responsibility in implementing locally national programs. So basically, the very first point to understand is the nature of local development and the role that local authorities can play in promoting it. Now, if we understand that local authorities have this double role, we have to ask ourselves, to answer more directly your question, what are the conditions? So what prevents them from playing that role? And at that point, I think we have to introduce two concepts: the concept of autonomy and accountability, and they are really the two sides of the same coin. Let's start with autonomy. Autonomy is basically the ability to do what you want, and so it's the ability to have an initiative or take initiatives on your own, and at the same time immunity to a certain degree from controls from the central government. So it's a controversial concept, but it is absolutely critical to really do the two things that we have just mentioned. If you are not autonomous, you won't be able to go to the communities, to go to the private sector, and with them develop your own policies, the local policies and programs. And therefore it would be very difficult to mobilize additional resources. Local communities are not really willing to contribute if what you are asking them is to contribute to the implementation of the policy of the central state. They will be much more forthcoming if what you are offering them is an opportunity to develop their own programs and projects. In other terms, if you involve them in the development of local policies. So autonomy is essential in order for the local government to mobilize the resources of the communities, of the private sector, and associate them to the national effort. Autonomy, however, is also important to improve the efficiency of the central state resources in the locality. If you do not allow local authorities, if you don't give them the room for really adjusting to the locality the national policies, then one would ask why give them any responsibility in implementing them. They could just use their own structures, maybe a deconcentrated structure, but not local authorities. So autonomy is essential. At the same time, you need the local authorities to be accountable, and to be accountable to both the local constituency and to the state. Without accountability, you run serious risks of capture of the local authority by local elites. You won't be able to address the needs of the more marginalized communities, of the poor, and on one end. On the other end, you run the risk that they essentially compromise the national macroeconomic framework, and in the end, end up making the investment of public resources as a whole less efficient. So autonomy and accountability are critical to address this. This is what I would consider the conditions, to answer directly your question, the conditions for local authorities to play the role that they are supposed to play in promoting development. But again, I would rather insist on the proper understanding of this local development. Local development is not development that happens locally. In the expression local development, the word local doesn't refer only to the locality or mainly to the locality, to the location of the development. It refers more to who and how development is promoted.